Well, the Marvels has found its way to Disney Plus, and since then it's been getting a little bit more love than it was in the theaters. Recently, Captain Marvel herself, Brie Larson, was asked about her future with Marvel Studios, and her response was, well, left many of us wondering if the MCU is now part of her past. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about what she said and why she might very well be leaving the role of Captain Marvel. Now, before we do that though, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and ring that bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos, and we wouldn't be your place for all the superhero news, but we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you are in the know. Well, it's no secret to anybody that the Marvels pretty much struggled really hard at theaters. It only managed to pull off a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes and brought in about $206 million worldwide. Given the budget of the film and expectations from the previous movie, well, it obviously didn't do very well and actually is Marvel's lowest grossing movie to date. Now, for many people, putting their finger on what went wrong with this film has been a bit difficult. The first movie, like we said, did $1 billion, and with Ms. Marvel and Photon added to the film, many people were expecting it to do, well, maybe not as well, but much better than it actually did. Now, the film obviously had challenges, and personally, I think the weakest part of the equation was the villain. But many of us, even though the film didn't do so well, were expecting all these actresses to return and continue to play these characters into the very distant future. Now, at the center of this franchise is Brie Larson. As many of you know, she plays Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, and quite honestly has spent several years fending off trolls and a pretty large contingent of fans on the internet that simply really don't like her in the role and have taken some issue with some of her statements. Now, over the weekend we had the SAG Awards, and Larson was flat out asked about her future with Marvel Studios, and her response was pretty quick, curt, and to the point. She said, "I don't have anything to say about that." Now, if you remember correctly, when she was promoting this film, she was asked a very similar question, and at that time she actually said, "I don't want Marvel to come for me, but there is something. There is definitely something to answer your question. I don't want Marvel to come for me, but there is something. To answer your question, that I would want to say, but I'm not going to." Now, what has changed since these two statements? And well, it's not too hard to figure out that after the poor performance of the Marvels and the not-so-secret massive reshoots and post-production, well, the star herself might be a bit disillusioned. I'm pretty sure she's still under contract with Marvel Studios, and I absolutely expect her to return for at least the upcoming Avengers films. The film left us off with quite a cliffhanger with Monica Rambeau trapped in an alternate dimension, so I don't really see how Marvel would actually let her go, but her future in the franchise might be pretty limited. Now, we have seen her before say things that kind of indicated she was done with the franchise, and although I know some people would probably be pretty excited if she left the role, I think Marvel has pretty much established her as the character, and I don't expect any kind of recasting, although you could see the character gain a lower and lower profile, especially in the post-Secret Wars world. Now, as for the other two characters in the city, I totally believe Kamala Khan, aka Ms. Marvel, has a massive future inside the MCU, and Monica Rambeau was a staple of the Avengers for many, many years, and I think given the cliffhanger we were left with at the end of the Marvels, they clearly have plans for the actress to return in the near future. I'm not sure if she'll ever get a solo film, but she's definitely going to be part of some bigger ensembles, and I absolutely expect her to be a part of the big upcoming Secret Wars events. Whether Brie Larson joins her on that team, we're going to have to wait and see, but I definitely think there's room for both characters inside the MCU, and you never know, if Larson does leave the role, you definitely could see the mantle passed on to Captain Monica Rambeau and see her get a bit of a title upgrade. But we'll have to wait and see.